Prior to taking on the responsibility of Prime Minister of this country, she was Minister of Culture. And probably she had that dream from then. And so today it must be a glorious moment that it has come to fruition. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the microphone the Honorable Mia Amor Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, please. To the man of the hour, MacDonald Blenman, but forever hereafter known by Bajans always as Mighty Greiner. Distinguished Barbadians all, this is an emotional moment for me because I believe that I have arrived at this moment only because of the country that we have built and the confidence that has been instilled in us, not simply by those who held high office or who led people in parliament, but by those who caused more people to listen to them on this highway than in any other environment over the years, or by those whose actions at that Mecca a couple hundred yards away was able to inspire millions of people across the world on the artistry and genius of that game that we mastered having been taught. This evening represents the culmination for me of a country that understands that it has a duty to claim its own and to build upon its own. For too many years, I have said that we have a story to tell. And I thank the people of Barbados for giving me and my government the opportunity not just to tell that story, but to make it a reality now for the majority of people who live in this country. I consider myself a child of independence, born 1 year before this country claimed its destiny. I was raised in a Barbados that paid tribute to a burgeoning set of artists from the late 1970s who would come to reaffirm for Barbadians that no longer would a taunt be made at us, that if you want to hear good calypso, go to Trinidad. I was a teenager in a Barbados that allowed us to know what it is that we could give thanks and celebrate and jump and wave, John, in a way that was uniquely Barbadian, and that we didn't have to whine, but we could walk up. I was born in a Barbados that saw men and women who, as Eddie put it, might otherwise not be known, come to be revered, whether it was Pompey or Viper or Plastic Bag, or the icons who led the way, Gabby and Grynner, and as Gabby and Greiner put it, Gabby, Greiner, and Grad. And as simple as it seems, that expression of confidence, that embracing by Barbadians of their own, created a platform that allowed us to fight the Shipwrighter Agreement, that allowed us to take on the world with the OECD and the EU, as we are still doing, that allows us to know that we are friends of all and satellites of none. It is that same spirit that allows us today to walk away from the opportunity of money from the World Bank to be able to stand up and say that we believe that the people of Venezuela should have the right to settle their own differences and to conduct themselves in dialogue because that is their right. This, my friends, this spirit of Barbados has not been created or crafted by prime ministers or MPs or ministers. It has been created and crafted and nurtured by the people of this country, by the people who leave their child by granny, by the women who go for child money at the court, by the people who still dream that In the Castle of My Skin will be on our TV, by the people of this land who, not this government, not me, not John, not those members in cabinet, who determined that that man from Black Rock, St. Stephen's, Free Hill, called MacDonald Blenman, when he sang Mr. T, Let Me Go, Don't Hold Me, and almost caused me to get expelled. If it was not the last day of term, I would have been expelled from Queen's College. Because we took the words of that song and we went on stage, Sharon Tate, Astrid Smith, and myself. It was said that we were the daughters of 3 wayward politicians. And we went on stage and we grabbed the microphone from the then Dame Elsie Payne, headmistress, on the last day of term. And we came and we took off the tie. And we sang the song, QC, Let Me Go, Don't Hold Me. We get out the door, ain't coming back no more. Such was the influence of Greiner. And that was before he was to win 6 more Tune the Crops. So that when I say to you this afternoon that this is an emotional moment for me, it is because it is the statement of a nation that is comfortable in its skin, that is comfortable to call this highway the mighty Greiner Highway, not the MacDonald Blenman Highway. And we understand that there is still distance to go. But there are a few things that I want to share with you this afternoon. Because people believe that we make up things on the fly, on the go. But I want to send you back to the Covenant of Hope, launched in 2016. Because the vision has remained constant and the principles have always been there. And principles only mean something when it is inconvenient to stand by them. And in that Covenant of Hope, we made bold to say that the most important action for this nation is to establish a new national consciousness. Because that national consciousness will determine who we are. That national consciousness will determine what we do. That national consciousness will determine how we do it. That national consciousness, Eddie, will ensure that we appreciate that discipline is part of the equation. And that when you have discipline and you add to it the C's. And what are the C's? Confidence, creativity, compassion, curiosity, caring. When you add to it those things, that what we begin to forge is a person, a Bajan, that can be the best that we can be. And once we become the best that we can be, believe you me, we can take on the world. So the forging of that new national consciousness is done through multiple mechanisms. It's done by that mother and that father in that household, reinforcing those C's and that D. Teaching your child that you can be confident and speak out without being rude. Teaching your child that curiosity is what leads you to the next pathway of being able to achieve something different, or leads you to the pathway of being creative. That mother or father that tells you that if you don't want somebody to treat you badly, as the children of St. Stephen's told me, the infants of St. Stephen's, when I communicated and spoke to them about the golden rule, and I said, do you understand what I'm saying? And they said to me, if you don't want nobody to treat you badly, don't treat them badly. Out of the mouths of 3- and 4-year-olds. These are the things that make the defining difference to the new national consciousness. That we learn to understand in this country that I can disagree with you without being disagreeable. That we learn in this country that in addition to being able to express my views and to stand up for my rights, that I have to listen and I have to be responsible and to carry out my responsibilities to self, to family, to community, and to country. Not just to adhere to my rights. A new national consciousness that fundamentally speaks about respect, but not the kind of respect that says that you must shoot or knock down somebody because they step on you. The respect that is born truly of an understanding of self and an understanding of other people and what it is to be compassionate and what it is to be tolerant and what it is truly to be respectful. These are the things that go in to whether we become productive or whether we become mendicant. To put it in simple language, whether we are going to add value to what we have been born into, or whether we are only going to take and take and take. These are the things that will define Barbados' greatness as a people and as a nation. And in a very real sense, Greiner, you and Gabby and Bag and all of you, Allison, TC, all of you, Pompey, all of you. I can't call everybody's name because John grew up with you all. I managed the band with John. And I thank God for the path that I walked that allowed me to be exposed to the arts, to understand that in our artists is first the conversation of what is possible so that we may, as public officials, settle what may be probable. This is a nation that is still being forged. And sometimes we are harsh on ourselves and we look at other nations that have been around for centuries. Last weekend at this time, I stood in the Medina in Marrakesh. And the humbling experience of knowing that you stood where others stood 1,000 years ago, 800 years ago, causes you to appreciate that in us is given a limited opportunity to make that definable difference. And if we want to make that difference and we appreciate that we are only running a relay, this is our leg on the relay, then you appreciate that you cannot drop the baton. And men like you, Greiner, have allowed us to be comfortable in our skin and to be the best that we can be without seeking to look in the mirror and see somebody else's image and to hear somebody else's voice. So this afternoon, my friends, We have come here to pay tribute to a great Barbadian man. And I want these children here to know that so long as you can be confident in yourself, so long as you cannot be frightened to create, to hear your own voice and to feel your own movements and to create from it, so long as you can continue to care about others, because you heard John, the minister, tell you that Gryner's genius lies not only on stage, but in the man in who he is today and in his humility and in his caring for other people. So long as you can be disciplined, because he didn't get on stage and suddenly start to sing. While you heard Eddie say he had to do it over and over and over and over, because practice does what? Make perfect. So long as you are prepared to do these things, then one day this country too can pay tribute to you, because you would have become the best that you could be. So that we must not only dare to dream, but we must also be determined to do. And while it is important that I speak to you in these terms, I have also to remember that I'm rooted on the ground, and that there are modern day realities and kinks that we don't get right the first time, but we're going to work and work and work until we get it right. And I want to publicly apologize to those promoters who have had hell, because I don't believe that you should have to go through hell in this country to be able to do a simple thing as to help us celebrate this festival of ours. And today, I met with the Barbados Revenue Authority, and I've asked them to please remove the hurdles. In fact, we have agreed that the one-stop license shall be issued from the National Cultural Foundation as of next week for the balance of crop over. When we don't get it right the first time, do not be too proud to say sorry and get it right, because that is the path of life that makes us great as a people. Similarly, in reviewing the legislation, I recognize that it is a 34-year-old piece of legislation that needs reviewing. And I've asked the Attorney General to please lead the effort of allowing us to be able to review the public entertainment legislation, because I'm not sure what role the Controller of Customs really has in this process. And is the Controller of Customs the best person in 2019 to be able to determine whether a person should get a license for public entertainment or not? I think not. And therefore, this review must take place. But there are other things that we need to correct. And it is not because others have said it is wrong. I asked the Cabinet Secretary just over a week ago to produce and prepare the documentation, because the time has come for us to have, without prejudice to the national hero of Barbados, which is in a special place of its own, that our highest award right now under the Order of Barbados is the Knight of St. Andrew. We must claim our destiny, and we must now establish an equivalent award under the Freedom of Barbados, so that Barbadians who do not want to be known as Sir or Dame of St. Andrew can still have the highest national award in this country. And for those who opt, therefore, for that award, because there will still be some who want the Knight of St. Andrew, but there are many, many, many of us of independence generation who would not know how to accept that award, those persons in claiming the freedom of Barbados would be hereinafter known as the most excellent. So, my friends, this is a journey. This is our leg of the relay. And Greiner, I, like Eddie, believe that it is going to be very difficult for anybody to match you on the road in this leg of the relay. And like Pompey, not only in this leg of the relay, but with the genius and the elegance of 2 hat tricks on the road that is associated with Kensington Oval, nonetheless. And that it is only right, therefore, that those children who may not be scientists or who may not be doctors or lawyers or who may not be politicians must forever know that they can attain the highest heights in this country and receive the greatest acclaim of the people of this land by expressing to us that which comes from within, because in so doing, we have reaffirmed what nobody else can do for us, our sense of Bajanness, our sense of Barbadianness. I say, therefore, that we have not just come this evening, therefore, to praise famous men. We have come to lay claim to a new national consciousness that hopefully shall inspire those who come after, that we can be great in this world by simply being the best of who we are as Bajans. God bless you, mighty Greiner, and thank God for your life.